Ephesians 4:20-24. But that is not how you came to know Christ, assuming you heard about him and were taught by him, as the truth is in Jesus. Take off your former way of life, the old self that is corrupted by deceitful desires, to be renewed in the spirit of your minds, and to put on the new self, the one created according to God's likeness, in righteousness and purity of the truth. The first phrase we're going to look at is come to know him. A lot of times Christianity gets accused of just shutting the mind off. But this phrase, come to know, is something that's likened to education or to learn. Those are like so scribbly, education, or to learn. We're supposed to learn about Christianity. We're supposed to learn about Jesus. It will go on a little bit more later about how we can learn about Jesus and how we can know him. But the idea is that we don't turn off our brains. We actually take in facts about Christianity, whether that's about archaeology, whether it's about history, world history, other religions. It is that we are to know. But what Paul says is that is not how you came to know Christ. He says, okay, your brain is engaged. There is learning. We don't turn our brain off. What we do when we take in information is we do take facts, not just for the fun of it. We're not just learning so that we can recite the books of the Bible, even though that's important. We're not taking in information just so we can spout off numbers. What we're doing is we're taking those facts and we're turning them into acts. The information we learn about Christianity, the Bible, God, Jesus, all of that is so that we will change as people. So he says, that's not how you came to know Christ. Assuming you heard about him and were taught by him, as the truth is in Jesus. He says, assuming you heard about him, assuming you were taught by him, as the truth is in Jesus. By him. We have the opportunity to have a relationship with the Holy Spirit. We also have the opportunity to have a relationship with Jesus himself. But are we pursuing that? It says, assuming you heard about him and were taught by him, as the truth is in Jesus. Are you learning about him? And then are you pursuing him personally? And the way you pursue him personally is through the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit's job is to reveal Jesus to us. We receive the Holy Spirit once we learn about Jesus, once we hear about Jesus, once we put our faith in him. But that relationship aspect is ongoing through the power and the privilege of the Holy Spirit. So we read this and we say, I want to know Jesus more. And I want to be in partnership with the Holy Spirit so that I can know him better. Allow those facts about the Bible, allow that daily Bible reading, allow all of that to turn those facts into acts. It should change our life. And that goes on to the next in verse 22, where it says, take off your former way of life, the old self that is corrupted by deceitful desires. There should be an aspect of, I'm not like that anymore. If we're not changing, that is something that should be frightening. The idea here, take off, is the idea to change our clothes, change our outfit. We're supposed to be completely different. We're supposed to be changed. And the idea is, hey, I'm getting new clothes. I'm getting new outfit. I am supposed to be completely changed. And I'm not going to wait until I feel like it. So it says, okay, take off your former way of life. Put on new clothes. Put on new habits. Put on new language. Put on all of these new things as we're reading our Bible and learning more about God. But are we? Are we putting on the new? Are we taking off the old? Are we getting rid of all of that? So he says, take off your former way of life. How are we different? And that takes a moment of just saying, Holy Spirit, how am I different? What is my old life that I need to get rid of? And what have I gotten rid of? Allow him to encourage you with how much you have changed. The enemy is the accuser, and a lot of times we mimic that when we accuse ourselves. So take a moment, say, Holy Spirit, how have I changed? And he will encourage you. The idea is change your clothes. Take off your former way of life, the old self that is corrupted by deceitful desires. Verse 23, to be renewed. Renewed. We're supposed to be renewing our minds. Romans 12:2. Romans 12:2, we're supposed to be cleaning and refreshing our mind. Be renewed in the spirit of your mind. Allow the Holy Spirit to work with your spirit, and you should be changing. You can know Jesus himself, and that's where peace comes from. That's where faith comes from. How can people go through hard things? It's because they've been renewing their minds, and they've been renewed in the spirit of their minds, and they've been getting rid of the enemy's deceitful desires. It says, be renewed in the spirit of your minds. And next is to put on. Again, we already talked about that. That's the new clothes. That's the new outfit. Put on the new self, the one created in God's likeness. There's a new person. There's an inner man. You're supposed to be changed. We are spirit, soul, and body. Our body, it's obvious. Our soul, that's the emotion, that's the intellect, that's all of that. The inner man, the new self, is the part of us that communicates with the Holy Spirit. Put on the Holy Spirit-controlled self, the one created according to God's likeness. You've been recreated. You don't have to wait. All you have to do is act. The Holy Spirit has given you everything you need to be created in God's likeness, in righteousness and purity of the truth. You have everything you need for daily life and for godliness to be like Jesus. The beautiful part is, when God looks at you, he doesn't look at the old life, the corrupted, deceitful desires, your former way of living. He looks at you through the screen of what Jesus has done for you and you putting your faith in him. This is exciting. But here's the question. Am I learning about Jesus? Am I learning about the Bible? And am I living any different than I used to? And how can I be living more according to this new self that has been created according to God's likeness?